Class 144 of the Deutsche Bundesbahn or Class 244 of the Deutsche Reichsbahn. This H0 model dates from the late 1980s and was marketed by Pico, a model railway company in the former GDR. It is a Class 144 electro locomotive of the Deutsche Bundesbahn. However, it was also sold in the GDR as a model of the Class 244 of the Deutsche Reichsbahn, which is basically the same. It has a length over the buffers of 174 millimeters and has many details. As an electric locomotive, it has working pantographs on the roof of the locomotive. The original E44 series was the first type of electric locomotives in Germany, of which more than 100 were produced. They were designated as multi-purpose locomotives that could be used in freight as well as passenger traffic. As early as 1932, a total of 187 locomotives were built. They were designed for the standard gauge and had a length over the buffers of 15,290 millimeters. With a service weight of 78 tons, they reached top speeds of 90 kilometers per hour. To do this, they drew electricity from the overhead line with a voltage of 15 kilovolt and a frequency of 16 2/3 Hz. The locomotives represented an important milestone in the development of electric locomotives. Although they were built as mainline locomotives, there were no running axles. For this, they got the Taz-Lager drive, which was then used very successfully for electric railcars and locomotives. During the Second World War, the locomotives were increasingly manufactured using domestic materials. A total of 174 vehicles were built by the end of the war, many of which were, however, totally ruined. After the end of the war, most of the locos came to the German Federal Railways in the western zones of occupation. Several of them were converted for push-pull operation. From 1968, all locomotives of the E44 series were renamed to Class 144, and some were still in use for many years to come. However, they were retired by 1984. On the other hand, the locomotives remaining in the newly founded GDR had to be handed over to the USSR as reparations. In 1952, 44 vehicles were actually returned. After intense refurbishments, the Deutsche Reichsbahn put them back into service by 1960. And yes, they were eventually redesignated as Class 244. So you see, it doesn't matter if you call them 144 in the western part or 244 in the eastern part. It is the same locomotive. The last of the 244 series were, however, retired in 1991. Today, more than 20 of the 187 locomotives which had been built have survived. Some are in various museums all over Germany, for example in the Nuremberg Transport Museum or on the museum track right at the Leipzig Central Station or in the Saxon Railway Museum in Chemnitz.